Welcome to Mystery in Minutes. Today, we're going to talk about a 2013 film, Evil Dead. Spoilers ahead, and viewer discretion is advised. The movie opens with a terrified, disoriented girl wandering aimlessly through creepy woods. Shadowy figures seem to be pursuing her as she hides behind a tree, hoping to remain unnoticed. Suddenly, she is knocked unconscious and abducted by two men who cover her face with a bag. When she awakens, she finds herself tied to a beam. An old lady appears and reassures the girl not to be afraid. But the scene becomes ominous when the lady hangs up a dead cat and mutters in an exotic language that only the evil book can undo what the evil book has done. Despite the girl's pleas to go home, the old lady begins reading from the ominous book. When the bag is removed from her head, the girl is surprised to see her father standing in front of her. She questions him about why he is doing this to her and who the strange-looking people around her are. When she calls out for her mother, he reveals to her that she is dead and that the girl was the one who killed her. The girl appears puzzled, unable to remember what happened. The old lady urges the father to get on with what needs to be done to save the girl's soul. He apologizes to his daughter and proceeds to pour gasoline over her head. As he lights the match, the girl speaks in a diabolic voice, threatening to kill him like she did his wife. We are made aware of her demonic possession. The inconsolable father tells his daughter that he loves her and proceeds to shoot her for added protection. The movie's title, Evil Dead, appears on the screen, and we are taken to a car driving down a road surrounded by trees on either side. The car stops at an empty cabin in ruins. When David gets out, we see him meet his friend Olivia. He then introduces her to his girlfriend, Natalie. Joining the three of them is Eric. As they hug, Eric whispers that someone was waiting for him in the back. We soon learn that it's David's sister, Mia. Although they seem to have a tense relationship, Mia's eyes light up when she sees their family dog, Grandpa, and we discover that the cabin holds many fond memories for them. David does a silly magic trick and hands Mia a significant necklace with a large round wooden pendant made from a buckthorn tree that is supposed to make her will stronger. Mia points out that he does not believe in the occult, but David got it for her because she does. Mia asks David to promise by crossing his heart that he will stay until the very end. As the group stands by a well, Mia tosses her drugs in, making the difficult decision to quit her addiction cold turkey. When David attempts to open the cabin door, he realizes it's already open and concludes that someone must have broken in. A putrid stench fills the air, and Mia laments the state of the dilapidated cabin, which their mother would have hated, so David offers to clean it up. Inside the cabin, Mia enters what appears to be her room, gazing at a photo of happier times with their mother and David. When David joins her, she reminisces about their mother's lullaby, and David urges her not to dwell on sad memories. Mia argues that their mother isn't a sad memory, and David cryptically tells her she knows what he means. Mia reveals that during their mother's final days, she often mistook her for David due to her deteriorating mental state. David justifies not being there because of a job, but Mia is unconvinced, suggesting he was lucky not to witness their mother's final days. She storms off, leaving David dejected. Later, David works on fixing the door while his girlfriend and sister hang out with the dog. Natalie informs him that Mia previously attempted to quit last summer, making dramatic promises of sobriety but failing after 8 hours. She also reveals that Mia may try to escape during withdrawal, but they must keep her here. Reluctantly, Natalie tells David about Mia's overdose, and he vows to be there for her. As night falls, Mia's withdrawal symptoms worsen, and she again complains about the foul odor in the house. Natalie explains it being a result of her heightened sensitivity, comforts her, and administers medication to ease her pain. Mia's suspicions of foul play are confirmed when Grandpa scratches at the rug, revealing a hidden door. Inside the basement, David and Eric are horrified to find multiple dead cats hanging from the ceiling. As Eric and David explore the basement, they stumble upon a disturbing scene that Eric suggests could be related to witchcraft. They find the infamous Naturum de Monto, bound with ropes and barbed wires, alongside a worn double-barrel shotgun and bullets. David notices a scorched beam, hinting at something ominous that may have occurred in the past. After climbing back up, David urges the group not to panic over what they had witnessed. Mia scolds him for touching the voodoo items in the basement. Eric suggests that the absence of personal artifacts and dolls means that this is something different and potentially more sinister. As rain begins to pour outside, Natalie is seen using a saw to chop up meat, while Mia struggles in the rain with her withdrawal symptoms. Meanwhile, Eric's curiosity gets the best of him, and he cuts the binds on the book, unleashing a malevolent force. He disregards the warning on the pages and proceeds to read the incantation from the book, which is filled with savage details and demonic illustrations. His paper cut causes him to bleed on the book, awakening the evil force within. Mia begins to experience terrifying visions of a demonic doppelganger of herself in the woods, causing her to vomit. She goes back to the cabin and begs the group to leave, but Olivia refuses to let her go, assuming she is having vivid hallucinations from withdrawal. She looks at David, who also agrees to keep her there. Feeling betrayed by him, she angrily pretends to go back to her room. Before they realize it, Mia escapes from the window, steals Eric's car, and leaves. And the group follows in search of her. Driving erratically, Mia is forced to swerve the car when she sees the same malicious doppelganger on the road, crashing into a pond. When she awakens, she is chased by the force into the woods, tripping into a bramble where vines from a tree trap her. Mia's doppelganger appears, regurgitating a disgusting black sentient vine that enters her body, possessing her. The group finds her crouched up against the tree. Back at the cabin, Olivia tells the rest of the group about Mia's rants about a girl in the woods and being attacked in the forest. When they suggest taking Mia to the hospital, it touches a nerve and Olivia scoffs, explaining she was administering the same treatment and leaving now would mean it had been all for nothing. When Eric points out the wounds in Mia's arm, Olivia explains the possibility of her having done that to herself, using the thorns from a bush. She predicts that from here on, Mia would do her very best to leave. David goes back to check on a visibly frightened Mia, who pleads with him to take her out of there and tells him about the entity in the woods, who was now with them in the room. Discrediting her truth as something that is all in her head, he leaves the room, assuring her that she would feel much better in the morning. But we see the menacing doppelganger in the reflection of her window. While cleaning out the dead cats, David notices a blood trail leading to his wounded dog in a hole. When he gets him out of there, he sees a bloodied hammer and believes Mia did it. While she is in the shower, David goes to confront Mia and pounds on the bathroom door. But when it opens, he discovers her scalding herself and tries to drive her to a hospital. But a sudden rainstorm washes out the road, preventing them from leaving. He turns back to look at Mia, who lets out a wicked smile while frothing at the mouth. When they get back, Olivia is horrified to see Mia's third-degree burns. David tries to pacify the group by telling them everything would be alright, but Eric knows things are getting worse by the second. Mia suddenly awakes, finds the shotgun, and shoots at Eric, letting out a blood-curdling scream, declaring that they are all going to die that night. Olivia attempts to take the gun off her, but she pins her down and vomits a large amount of red bile onto Olivia's face before Eric manages to lock her in the basement. Olivia seems baffled as she gave Mia enough sedatives to put down a horse, but David suggests she give her some more before she kills herself, so she goes to the bathroom to do that. Eric tells David the events of the evening are connecting to the witchcraft in the basement. Meanwhile, we see Olivia get possessed as well. When Eric discovers Olivia in the shower, mutilating her face, she stabs him in the gut with a knife and repeatedly in the eye with a hypodermic needle before he bludgeons her to death. David arrives at the scene, and Eric tells him what happened. While David tends to Eric's wounds, he sends Natalie to fetch water and sugar. The demon, using Mia's voice, lures Natalie from the kitchen into the cellar and bites her hand before slicing her own tongue apart and forcibly kissing her. Luckily, David arrives in time and helps Natalie escape before locking Mia back in and barricading the door. Eric reveals that according to the book, the Taker of Souls must claim 5 souls to unleash the abomination. Natalie's arm soon becomes possessed and she amputates it with a saw. Eric explains that to save Mia's soul, she must be purified either by live burial, dismemberment, or burning. David is appalled at the idea of killing Mia. He wonders if the gruesome events of the night were caused by a disease spread by the dead cats in the basement. Eric calls David out for refusing to see the truth. The now possessed Natalie attacks the pair with a nail gun, but David shoots off her other arm. Natalie returns to normal, but she soon bleeds to death from her injuries. David desperately tries to keep Eric alive and decides to burn the cabin down. However, when Mia begins singing the lullaby from their childhood, he has a change of heart and decides to bury her instead. He digs a grave and heads into the cellar to retrieve Mia, who attempts to drown him. After Eric intervenes, he is fatally stabbed. David manages to sedate Mia and bury her alive, ignoring the demon's taunts. He hears her heartbeat stop and attempts to resuscitate her with a homemade defibrillator, but it seems to fail. David covers his sister, believing she's at peace. However, he is shocked to find her alive and back to her normal self. As David enters the cabin to retrieve his car keys, Eric's possessed corpse stabs him. He asks Mia to leave, but she refuses, so he pretends to go with her and locks her outside. David shoots a gasoline can, causing a blaze that kills both him and Eric. Mia finds the talisman her brother gave her, but the bloody rain reveals that David's death was the fifth claimed soul. The abomination in the form of Mia's demonic doppelganger attacks her. Mia crawls into a hole leading to the basement, but the demon pursues her. She finds a chainsaw and severs the abomination's legs, but it overturns David's Jeep, trapping her left arm. In a desperate move, Mia amputates her left hand to free herself, grabs the chainsaw, and bisects the abomination's head. It sinks back into the ground and the rain stops. Exhausted, Mia wears the talisman around her neck and sets out to find help, unaware that the Nataram Demonto is still intact. What do you think of the video? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more.